Now at 8:30 on WKYT this morning, one man is recovering in the hospital after being shot in Lexington this morning. A community gathered to support a gas station clerk who was left paralyzed. And a Lexington group is trying to get people to get help for their drug addiction. That's all coming up on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Chamberlain. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday, September 25th. Meteorologist Mike Linden joins us now with a look at today's forecast, and he's saying this may be our last day. It feels like summer, right?
You know, yesterday was beautiful. We saw temperatures in the low 90s and sunny skies, and today looks more of the same. But this could be the final day that we feel temperatures like this because fall is well on its way. We'll get to that in just a moment, but right now on the Defender Radar Network, once again starting off with just nothing. It is fantastic as we get going again. Here's a live look outside. I mean, this is beautiful as we get started here in Lexington. You might see some thin clouds out there today, but overall, it once again looks like a beautiful day. We are starting off with some visibility issues, especially in southern Kentucky. Some dense fog there, especially along the Kentucky-Tennessee line. So that's right along the I-75 South corridor and close to the Howell Rogers Parkway. So if you're heading to church early this morning or just getting your day going early, be safe out on those roadways. We will see that fog burn off here, though, really soon. Temperature-wise, very comfortable as we get going. We're looking at room temperature, the mid-60s. Some spots already getting into the lower 70s, but still running a little warmer than where we are normally for this time of year. But don't you wait anymore. We are looking at some big changes into the work week coming up. I'll show you how we go from the upper 80s to the 60s in about 24 hours.
Thank you, Mike. New this morning, one person is in the hospital after being hit by a bullet during an apparent argument. It happened just after 2:30 this morning in the parking lot of the Office Lounge on Eastland Parkway. Now, that's just off of New Circle and Winchester Roads. WKYT's Mike Byer is live at UK Hospital with more details. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Michelle. Lexington police tell us one man was shot in the leg after they got into an argument with another person in the Office Lounge parking lot. Now, police say they heard what sounded like a gunshot around the corner on Continental Square. When they got to the scene, police say the victim was nowhere to be found, but there was blood on the ground. A few minutes later, the victim checked himself into a hospital before later being transferred here to UK Hospital. Police say the victim is stable this morning and don't believe his injuries are life-threatening. Now, police say they do not have a good description of the suspect, but they do say that person is either driving a tan Marquis or a tan Crown Victoria car. Live in Lexington, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Thank you, Mike. Now, police in Charlotte, North Carolina have released some of the video officers recorded during the minutes leading to the fatal shooting of a 43-year-old black man on Tuesday. But family members of Keith Lamont Scott say they're left with more questions than answers. Kenneth Craig has more from Charlotte.
Dashcam video shows Charlotte police officers surrounding a car, yelling, "Drop the gun." You also hear a woman saying he doesn't have a gun. Scott eventually gets out of an SUV, his hands at his side as he backs away. You continue to hear someone yell, "Drop the gun," and then shots are fired. From another angle, body camera video shows an officer pointing a gun at Scott while the 43-year-old stands outside his car. Police Chief Kerr Putney says Scott had a gun in his hand, but that cannot be seen on the video. The department also released a photograph of a gun found at the scene and said tests revealed Scott's DNA and fingerprints on the weapon. The police chief said officers were at the scene to arrest someone else, but got involved with Scott after they noticed him with marijuana and a gun.
What we're releasing are the objective facts.
Don't shoot him. Don't shoot him. He has no weapon.
Scott's wife insists her husband did not have a gun.
Family members said they were pleased the footage was finally released, but they aren't satisfied.
We are left with far more questions than we have answers. It does not make sense to us how it was possible that this incident resulted in the loss of life.
Hundreds of protesters peacefully demonstrated for a fifth-day Saturday. A citywide curfew remains in effect. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Charlotte.
Friends and family of a Lexington gas station clerk paralyzed after being shot during an attempted robbery are trying to help him with his hospital bills. Charles Moore was working at the Marathon on Lansdowne Drive last Saturday when he was shot and paralyzed from the waist down. He's still at UK Hospital. Moore's family says he will spend months at a rehab center. So yesterday, they held a fundraiser at the Marathon to help him with his finances. One family member says it's going to be a long road for him, so he needs all the help he can get.
We just need everyone's prayers to continue for Chuck because he's got a long journey, but it's going to be just fine.
The Marathon is still accepting donations for Moore. Friends have also set up an online fundraiser page for him. We have a link to that page on WKYT.com. You can call it a sign of the times. An old coal-fired cooling tower in Lawrence County came crumbling down. The Big Sandy power plant hasn't used the tower since May of 2015. That's when new EPA environmental regulations took effect. The man who hit the button to implode the tower had worked there for 30 years.
I was overwhelmed. I saw all of it built. Now I've got to see it come down. I started to work for the company in '54, and they told us that if we liked it and they liked us, we'd be there a lifetime. And here it is coming to an end.
The plant manager would like to see a new industrial development fill that vacant part of the property. A Lexington group is trying to get people help for their heroin addiction. Stop Heroin Lexington held a block party yesterday to try and raise awareness about heroin addiction. Organizers say they have a number of recovering addicts on staff to talk to anyone with a problem. One organizer says if you know someone who needs help, please tell someone.
It's important to help somebody, help your friend. You know, if you think they got a problem, you know, contact their family, do some kind of intervention, especially with a heroin addiction. It can grow out of control very, very quickly.
Your time now is 8:36. Coming up on WKYT this morning, the Smithsonian has opened its new African American Museum. We'll take a look inside coming up after Mike's forecast.
And if you were hoping for another summer-like day here in the fall in Kentucky, you got your wish. Another one is here, but fall is on the way, and it's going to shake up the weather in a big way for the work week.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Mike Linden.
Well, good morning and welcome back to WKYT this morning. It is most definitely a good morning, a great morning as we get going here on Sunday. We are once again looking at a summer-like day here on the first weekend of fall. We look at our cameras across the state. No matter where you look, things are great as we get going early this morning. We look at the Defender radar network, a whole lot of nothing on the radar early this morning, nor do we expect to find very much into the afternoon. There is certainly something out there. It's off to our west. Pretty massive cold front, essentially splitting the United States in two parts. For those on the eastern side, it does include Kentucky, it still feels like summer. For the folks on the western side of that front, behind it, it's feeling a lot like fall. And as you can see, there is a lot of active weather along that front that is going to work its way into Kentucky as we get into the start of our work week. But until then, another summer-like day here in the Bluegrass with high temperatures getting back into the upper 80s. So if you have plans to be outside from now through midnight tonight, you're looking pretty good. Normal for this time of year, mind you, for a daytime high is right around where we'll be at 11 o'clock this evening in the mid-70s. So it just goes to show you how much warmer than normal we are here in the beginning of fall. But check this out on your hour by hour and watch how things change. Start you off in a little under a half an hour from now at 9 o'clock. As temperatures work their way into the mid to low 80s by 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, we get back to that again, above normal warmth. Some cloud cover begins to seep in out ahead of that front, but into Monday, that is where the rainfall returns, potentially some thunderstorms, as well as some gusty winds. Look at temperatures out ahead of that front. This is noon tomorrow, mind you. The low 80s and upper 70s, but then look behind that front, the mid to low 60s. Temperatures really dropping off behind this front. That's almost a 20-degree difference, and that's going to mean some gusty winds as well for your Monday. But it all is the winds of change, if you will, because into Tuesday, that is where we get back to the normal conditions for this time of year. So that front, well and truly, is hitting the reset button on the Commonwealth of Kentucky as we drop from near 90 to below 70 degrees for our high temperatures on Tuesday. So that cooler air is well on its way, and it's going to make things feel autumn-like for the next week. This might be the final day that we see temperatures like this for pretty much the rest of 2016. The upper 80s, potentially some low 90s out there over western Kentucky, but then we're back to normal tomorrow with the active weather, but then it all leads to some wonderful, wonderful change there on Tuesday as high temperatures fall back to pretty much where we are right now, Michelle, the mid to high 60s for our daytime high. So a little cool. Might even need a light jacket to get going on Tuesday morning.
The fall weather's finally coming.
Gotta love it, really.
And your wedding's next Saturday. It looks like it's going to be a pretty day.
We'll see. Could be some showers early in the morning, but that makes for some good pictures.
Well, and it would be fitting if it rained on a meteorologist's wedding day, right?
Exactly how I've been trying to think, but trying to keep that out of my mind.
No, it's going to be a beautiful day.
We'll see.
So the Smithsonian's new National Museum of African American History and Culture is now open.
President Barack Obama celebrated its opening with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. CBS's Marley Hall has the story.
With the ringing of the 130-year-old Freedom Bell, President Obama officially dedicated the National Museum of African American History and Culture before a crowd of thousands on the National Mall.
It is an act of patriotism to understand where we've been.
Dignitaries and celebrities, including Oprah Winfrey and Will Smith, helped celebrate the historic occasion with poetry, speeches, and musical performances. Black Civil War veterans conceived of the idea more than a century ago, and former President George W. Bush signed legislation authorizing the construction of the museum in 2003.
This museum tells the truth that a country founded on the promise of liberty held millions in chains, that the price of our union was America's original sin.
The 400,000 square foot museum showcases 4 centuries of black history with nearly 3,000 artifacts on display. Museum visitors are encouraged to start with the slavery exhibit, then move chronologically through displays on freedom, segregation, civil rights, then lastly the achievements of black icons. Every story is told through an African American perspective.
That African American history is not somehow separate from our larger American story. It's not the underside of the American story. It is central to the American story.
A story with a chapter that was never fully told until now. Marley Hall, CBS News, Washington.
The time now is 8:45 on this Sunday morning.
We'll have more news when we come back.
Good morning. I'm Bill Bryant. Sure hope you're having a nice weekend. U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch was in Kentucky this week to talk about the troubling problem of heroin addiction and overdoses. Our Miranda Combs covered her visit for WKYT News, and we talk about that on this weekend's edition of Kentucky Newsmakers. Why did the Attorney General choose to come to Central Kentucky, of all places she could go?
I think several reasons. Number one, Lexington, Louisville, and Cincinnati have all been hit hard with heroin and fentanyl, so it was fitting for this Heroin Awareness Week that she would come to this area. Also, Madison County in particular, where she spent the morning, 30-plus overdose deaths since January there. Also, I think she likes a lot of what the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District is doing right now in regard to prosecuting dealers on a federal level and winning and putting them behind bars in federal prison.
You saw her in different settings. She spoke to kids, then she spoke again with law enforcement and with the prosecutors and so forth. Is it a different message for each group?
It was interesting. With the kids, it was a town hall style meeting. There were 600 kids, and she first talked to them briefly about, hey, watch each other's back in your small circles. If you see someone dropping off, step in, intervene, and make sure they're taken care of. Take care of each other, so to speak. And then she opened it up to questions. So there were like 10 kids that asked questions in front of hundreds of people to the U.S. Attorney General. They asked questions from, is marijuana a gateway drug, to big questions about the epidemic in general and how we're going to solve this in the future. So it was very interesting, and the kids were very well spoken.
I want to hear a little bit from the Attorney General of the United States, Loretta Lynch.
Now, as you heard, I'm the Attorney General of the United States. What that means is I'm the chief law enforcement officer in this country, and I run an agency, the Department of Justice. But the best part of it is I get to travel around the country and talk about issues and policies of importance and bring awareness to issues and meet with people who are working on all kinds of things. And now we're focusing on this epidemic, and it really is an epidemic. Now, I know all of you are high school students. You're thinking about college. Maybe you haven't done the SATs. Maybe you haven't done the application process yet. How many of you are thinking about where you want to go to school? Raise your hands. You've already started that process. I know one of your guidance counselors is here. I'm sure that's a lot to think about. You've got essays. You got to worry about your grades. And beyond college, who's thinking about what they want to do for a career? Who's at that point? Outstanding. What are some career choices here? Anybody here want to be a journalist? Ooh, journalism is not doing. How about doctor? Lots of doctors, lawyers. Who wants to be a fashion blogger? That's the hot new career. And there you go. Let me tell you, that's what you ought to think about. Artists, teachers. Who wants to be a teacher? Very good, very good. Anybody want to be in law enforcement? Outstanding. We always need more excellent, outstanding people in law enforcement. What I want you guys to do, though, is look around the room, see just how many people are here. We've got about 500 people here, but I think the room holds about 600 people if it were all full, right? And I want you to think about the fact that last year, just last year alone, in Kentucky, 1,200 people died from opioid abuse and heroin abuse overdoses. Just last year.
Now, also on Kentucky Newsmakers, Kentucky Coal Association President Bill Bissett, who's leaving that job for another challenge. Kentucky Newsmakers will repeat this morning at 10 on the CW Lexington. Set your DVR or catch it then. And we'll have the latest news, weather, and live drive traffic bright and early all this week on WKYT This Morning. I'm Bill Bryant, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to WKYT This Morning. So, poet, musician, and anchorman of CBS Sunday Morning, Charles Osgood. There's a lot to this man.
Well, as the sun sets on his storied television career at CBS News Sunday mornings, Lee Cowan takes a look back.
When Charles Osgood invited us to his picture postcard home in the south of France, the one with the sun made of stone in the driveway and the stunning Mediterranean views, it was both a generous and intimidating offer. After all, how do you sit across from your boss, let alone the newsman you grew up watching, and ask him about a career that's lasted as long as you've been alive?
Do you remember the first piece you did for television?
No.
Truth is, he made the conversation easy, like he does with all conversations, even when he was correcting me on the art of writing.
There's a big difference between the right word and the wrong word.
Well, all the words are wrong except for the right one.
His style, his manner, his curiosity are as fresh as the grapes hanging in his garden.
These are descended from grapes that were here for 100 years.
Were they really?
But they're good to eat.
Yeah? Do you eat them a lot?
Just passing through.
That was our garden.
But little has satisfied his professional palate more than his Emmy-winning run at Sunday Morning.
And right after WKYT This Morning, it's a special Celebrating Charlie edition of CBS Sunday Morning right here on WKYT from 9 to 10:30. What a great career he's had.
It looks like retirement's going to be good for him. All the grapes he could eat and wherever he lives, beautiful looking. Much like what we are going to look like here in Kentucky today. A lot of sunshine, feeling like the summer and looking a lot like the summer. But this could very well be the last day that we see temperatures in the upper 80s, low 90s range for the rest of 2016 because a big front gets here into tomorrow that brings us the fall-like weather as we head into the next few days. So slipping from the upper 80s today all the way back to the upper 60s for daytime highs on Tuesday. So feeling a lot like the fall here in the coming days, but as for today, feeling once again a lot like the summer.
Time to get those boots and sweaters out. I love that time of year.
At least get them ready. At least get them ready. Not there yet.
Thanks so much for joining us this Sunday morning. Hope you have a great day.